So let's talk about Heartland. How did Heartland come about? Was that just another audition you and your mom went to and you didn't think much about it? Or was it like, was Canada all talking about like this could be a big thing?
So what happened is I did a pilot called Left Coast, and it was about a rich family losing all their money. It was kind of like it was like the first Schitt's Creek, and it was actually CBC, which is Schitt's Creek. Yeah. And it was about a rich family having to move to a farm.
Interesting.
And, figuring their way out or whatever. And that didn't get picked up. Instead, this series called Heartland got picked up. And they had just done a pilot. And so the producers of CBC and Heartland and Left Coast, this pilot, were like, oh, this girl, Jessica, would be perfect for this show because they needed a younger generation because everybody was 16 and older, but really they were 18 and older in real life. And so they needed just like a younger generation. They didn't have like a kid on the show,
right,
or a preteen teen. And so they had me meet with the writer and showrunner, Heather. And Heather had made this character up herself because the series was from a book. And Heather needed to come up with a character. And so Mallory is... and I love this about Mallory is that the showrunner and writer, it's the only character that's like a main character essentially in the beginning that was made up. It was totally her vision. And so it really mattered what Heather Conkey thought of me. And so we met in Vancouver and we went over a few scenes and she went, okay, yeah, Jessica could be Mallory.
Wow. So it wasn't even like a formal audition. You just sort of met with her and jammed with her for a little bit.
I did an audition. I did the lines, but yeah, it was like, I think it was just me.
Got it.
I think it was just me.
Did you have any expectation? Like that show's, is it still going? It's like 17 years. Was it?
It could be 18.
Was that did they know it was going to, obviously they didn't know it was going to go that long, but did you have an expectation that it was a recurring character and like you'd come up a lot? And
that's a good question too. I think that at the time I was supposed to be, there was 12 episodes a season and I was supposed to be in 6 episodes a season. So my mom and I are thinking like I'll be there like 3.5 months a year. It became 12 episodes out of 12. So I ended up being 8 months out of the year. Yeah. And so, my mom and dad are still together. My brother is at the time was like very competitive in athletics, and my dad coached his teams or assistant coached his teams. Me and my mom went to every one of my brother's games. Like we're all the 4 of us were very supportive of each other. And so this was like a huge shake-up. Oh, yeah. My mom and I being away 8 odd months out of the year and not being with dad, not being with Mason, my brother, that was like a wake-up call of like, I really have to love this. Yeah. For my mom, and my mom never made me feel guilty. My dad and brother never. Sometimes my brother would, but it's my brother.
Classic Mason.
Mason. No, I love Mason. It took a lot for me to go, okay, I really have to love this in order for my parents to sacrifice being apart from each other.
When did you think that though? Was it after the first season that it was 6 and then it was 12 and you were like, wait, now I really got to think about this?
Yeah, because the time it goes by and you go, oh my gosh, like it was the next year. Because originally it was supposed to be very minimal, but I think that my character was one of the only funny characters. Sure. Everybody was funny in a sense, but my character was like mainly for entertainment and funny. Yeah. And so they were like, oh, the show can be intense and dramatic and all of these things. It's about love. It's about trauma. And my character was like, fucking shut up.
So it's shot in Calgary, right? Am I right thinking that? So how long of a plane ride is that from Vancouver to Calgary? That's like a 4 hour...
55 minutes.
Oh, it's an hour flight. Okay. So that definitely was a distance. Was there ever thought with your family that
55-minute plane ride.
But to get back and see your brother's games and stuff, like it becomes a thing.
Contractually, if I had 3 days off or more, they had to fly us home.
Oh.
So I was in high school a lot. I was in elementary school a lot. I was a part of my friend group. I'd be like, hey, I'm peacing out for 3 days.
Wow.
See you on Tuesday.
I see.
And my mom needed it that way. And she made it that way because I don't mean this with any disrespect, but there was a lot of child actors I grew up with that were homeschooled.
Right.
And they didn't have the communication with other kids. They didn't have the normal experience. And my mom went, not my kid.
Yeah.
And so she made it a necessity that I was in school whenever I could be so I could get to know my teachers. I had my friend groups. I was friends with everybody in high school. Like, I had the full experience, and that makes me a better actor because I know how it feels to go through the natural processes of life. Like, that's totally normal to me. I'm normal.
Yeah.
And my mom didn't want me to be like a
weirdo.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say a weird actor.
Was that 3-day deal where you were off for 3 days, they had to fly you back? Was that something your mom had the foresight to add into the contract, or is that just a normal kid contract deal?
No, that's something that my mom was like. Whenever there's more than 3 days that Jessica's not working, she needs to be in school. And my agent Gary, real to real talent. I think he's retired now. I was with him like 15 years. They had the foresight. Yeah, it was like something that was a necessity because my mom wouldn't have let me be away. Then I would have been so isolated. I wouldn't have had a childhood.
Right. Did your mom work at all, or was this became her full-time job once you started booking regularly?
She worked, and then when all this started, there's no way she could have.
Yeah.
But my dad had his own businesses, and so it wasn't really about that. My mom never needed to work. My mom is just somebody that likes to keep busy. So, like, even now, she works. My dad's retired, but, like, my mom is a busybody.
Yeah.
And so she actually, she'll excel in anything she does. And she excelled at being a quote-unquote stage mom because she was never a stage mom. It was always about me, my health, my well-being. She was always just mom.
Sure.
She was never harsh on me or whatever. And so, but as soon as I was on my own, she went and got a job because that's just who she is.
Good for her.